Hey everyone, I'm so glad you landed on this video and you clicked on that bold title. We're going to talk about 5 jobs, maybe a little bit more than that actually. I do have a couple of bonuses at the end that I think are going to skyrocket, are going to be in demand in 2022 and probably over the next 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 years as well. So we're going to keep seeing these jobs in the next couple of years, but I do draw back from saying 5 to 10 years or speaking about the long term because honestly, everything is moving at a hyper speed these days, and especially in the spaces that I'm going to talk about today in this video, it moves so fast. It moves so fast that I don't think anyone should be able to speak about the next 5 to 10 years because it's just so difficult to foresee that. I'm sure there are other research from other organizations around jobs of the future for the next 5 to 10 years, maybe 20 years, but my point of view is that is just too long of a term to talk about. I'm focusing on this upcoming year and maybe the next 2 to 3 years in total. So if you're up for it, we're going to talk about things. We're going to talk about spaces and roles that are really hyping these days and that are really going to skyrocket, or actually right now currently are skyrocketing these days. What I can tell you is that you can take this information from this video from an industry perspective or a roles perspective. So I again draw back from talking about specific titles because titles are really versatile. You can really change them. You can insert a new word, you can take out a word, and the overall core skills, the focus of the role doesn't really change, but the titles could change. So I wouldn't really necessarily get stuck on the title itself, but you can take this information from this video from a roles perspective or an industry perspective. Both are going to be in demand, are currently in demand. So let's just go ahead and get started. Number 1 job that I think is skyrocketing and is going to continue skyrocketing in the next year and a few more years after that as well is community managers and community launchers. So people who are on board with the community first mindset. So community comes before commerce. If you are in that headspace, if you are someone who has built communities before, who has managed communities, who has managed engagement before, then you likely have some base or foundation to be in these roles. Let's take a look at the history of how community managers or community management in general became a need. So once brands started to build audiences on social media platforms, they just naturally started to need someone to take care of that conversation, that engagement, manage the expectations, the feedback, the testimonials, the questions, answers, everything that came from that community. Naturally, those roles started to appear, right? So then it converted into membership communities like private Facebook groups or Patreon groups or other platforms maybe that I can't think of right now, but people started to, or brands started to build communities on or host communities on those types of platforms. Then it kind of moved into communities on Discord, sometimes Slack as well. Slack is also used to build and maintain communities or have conversations with communities. So I'm sure there are going to be other tools, other platforms that appear and that we start to use to manage and be involved in communities in the future as well. Why is this so important? Why is community becoming a more and more important element in sales or business in general? Because community is a movement. You gather people around a shared vision, around similar ideas that have similar interests, and they enjoy the similar things, right? So you bring those people together first, so you kind of create that vision, the shared vision and a movement. Then starting to sell or build something together becomes a lot more easier. So if this is starting to sound interesting to you at all, if this is your jam, if this is something you vibe with, then I'm sure you're going to start to pick up those community manager, community launcher, community builder type of roles more and more. I've been seeing a lot of these lately, and you can find regular businesses hiring for community managers too, but particularly for my case, for the current space that I'm in, I'm seeing a lot of community manager roles in companies that are adopting the Web3 and that are like DeFi, DAOs, the decentralized anonymous organizations, decentralized finance, NFT communities. These are all hiring, building communities. So these could be organizations that you keep your, I guess, radar open for. And I am sure you're going to start seeing a lot more community manager, community builder roles in the next year. Next one I want to talk about is crypto, digital currency, alternative payment, blockchain experts. So these are just like slash. So you can use them interchangeably. You can just look at it as a general perspective, but a lot of big companies are already hiring for crypto or alternative payment or digital wallet experts. For example, during the spring summer season of 2021, Apple had a job posting for a business development manager alternative payments role. This means something is coming, right? They are seeking for experts. They're seeking for a leader that knows this space, and potentially this is what I take from this, is that they're looking to build a team of experts of alternative payments. So this means something is coming. They have something in the works, and this is important, right? Like if Apple's doing it, this is kind of going to be a big deal, and it could potentially become a movement. Which brings me to Twitter also hiring their first crypto leader, crypto director. I don't know what their role is, but the first person to lead a new team for crypto, blockchains, and decentralized technologies in general. So this is another big one. Walmart also hired someone in 2021 for a cryptocurrency or crypto expert. So these are all things that we're seeing in the news. And if these big companies are making movements, taking steps towards this space, this should tell you something, that they are building teams, even in these corporate companies. I'm not even mentioning like Web3 companies. These are big corporate companies that we all know of and big brands that we all know of. And if they're hiring experts to lead and build teams within their system, then this tells us that they are going to be hiring for people who are experts in this area or who have experience in this area. So far, I don't know if you're seeing the excitement in my hands, my eyes, and how I talk about this, but this gets me really excited because we talk a lot about career and career growth on the channel, but I really want to bring you the most fresh and up-to-date and like current information around the future of jobs and where it's heading to and which spaces you should pay attention to. So I hope you're enjoying this so far. If you are, then don't forget to give it a like, and if you're new to the channel, maybe subscribe at this point or wait until the very end of the video, however you'd like. Let's move on with the third one, which is blockchain developers. So this area, I don't know if I even need to say this, but it is skyrocketing, and this is only going to go upwards from now on. So maybe it's the right time to start paying attention to it. If you've been curious, this is the time to be a little more curious and to actually start learning, to start taking some actions around this. This is a very important industry, and there's only going to be more and more jobs, and a variety of jobs that are created that just appear are needed in the next couple of years. So we'll be looking at people who are well versed with the blockchain architectures, Ethereum networks, smart contracts, and all those things that sounded very confusing to me just a couple of months ago. Even right now, as I inform you about these things, I don't get everything, but I understand that this is skyrocketing. And need I say how fast the adoption of crypto and alternative payments and these decentralized technologies and all of those fancy things are happening. It is really happening so fast, so you better get on board with it. If this is something that falls into your area of expertise or interest, then this is the right time to dive more into it, learn more. So start getting experience from one point and just build on top of that, because you, my friend, you're gonna be in demand more and more as I see it, and hopefully I'm not wrong, and I don't think I am. Next two jobs that I'm gonna talk about, they fall into more of my scope, what I do best, what I know, what I've been involved in a lot over the past years, but I think these are still only going to grow. So the next one I want to introduce to you is course creators and course managers. So I'm not sure if I want to focus on the course creator part of things, but more so on the course manager, right? So again, let's look at the brief evolution or history of online courses. So it started with the massive open online courses, the what is known as MOOCs. So it started with that, which is basically Udemy, Skillshare, Coursera, those types of platforms. Then it kind of evolved into this next era where we saw more of, again, self-paced learning, so self-paced online courses. And then what we're seeing more and more right now is cohort-based courses, which basically means that the learning happens through live workshops, through live sessions. Though they are recorded, the learning itself is, the experience itself happens live. And that's what basically differentiates the cohort-based courses from the self-paced, self-learning focused courses. So that's a quick evolution of online learning. But what happens right now is as the creator economy just grows and expands, and as the availability of tools and platforms that enable people to build and deliver courses online, we're just going to keep seeing more and more online courses and online course creators. So everyone who's an expert at something is becoming a teacher in a sense, and that's very exciting in itself. Like, that topic is very exciting to me, but what this brings is, if there are more course creators, then naturally we're gonna also see course managers, because no one can actually handle a full class, like the whole technicality behind it, the organization, the management of that course, the delivery of that course. So there is like so many different elements that are involved in course creation and course delivery. And I know this firsthand, as I'm actually currently delivering the first cohort of my online course, which is Break Into Marketing. So if you've been a follower for a while, you already know what I'm talking about, perhaps, or you should. Anyway, so right now is the first cohort of my course, and I know that right now I don't have a course manager or operations manager, however you want to call it, but if the cohort was a lot bigger the next time, so that means basically the group is bigger next time, I have more students, I would absolutely need to work with a course manager or operations manager. Again, however you'd like to call it. I really don't get stuck with the titles, but essentially the skills that you're looking at is people who understand the online education or online course business, and they are able to effectively use the tools that that person, that educator is using. So basically helping them out with anything that touches the operation of that course, the logistics, the communication, the email setup, the tool setup. It could be anything. Honestly, there are so many things that I could count to you right now, because I personally need someone to assist me with all those things. This industry, this space is only getting bigger. The online education, the education technology, these spaces are just going to get bigger over the next couple of years, maybe even kind of taking over like the physical education or the traditional form of education that we know of. This is just a very big space that is only going to expand. So if you are interested in it, if this again drives your curiosity, then be more curious around it and start to again tap into areas, meet people that can enable gaining experience in this space, so that you can prepare yourself for all the jobs that are going to potentially come your way. And the fifth job or profession that I want to talk about is content creator and content repurposing experts, let's call them, right? Okay, so content creation, it's not going anywhere. Content creators, not going anywhere. We are only going to need more and more of this, because everyone is becoming publisher or a media company even. Creating and sharing has never been easier, and creator, that word, as ambiguous as it may sound to you, it is actually a profession. And believe it or not, there is currently about 50 million creators in the world. I don't know how many of them are making money from creating content, but I can only assume and expect that that is going to increase. And believe it or not, another fun fact is that creator is one of the most sought after careers among the young generation. So that should again tell you something about this content creation or creator space. So whether you become a creator of content yourself, or whether you become a creator of a tool or something, a system, a solution that enables and supports content creators, you are again going to be in demand, my friend. And with all that content creation, something, again, another service that's really highly needed is repurposing. So a lot of creators actually focus mainly, or they have like one primary channel. So for example, mine is YouTube. For some people it could be blogs, for some people it could be TikTok, or I don't know, Facebook. And what happens is, yes, they focus a lot of attention, they put a lot of time and energy into that primary channel, but then they also need to distribute that content across other channels. And I know this isn't new news, but this is only getting bigger because there are just more channels, more platforms to distribute your content on. And so if you are someone who really understands all those platforms, who understands how to repurpose content across different channels, then you're only going to be more and more in demand. Because again, as I said, I mean, creating content, the creator economy, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So again, if you're looking for a job that's going to be in demand, I would definitely put this space, put this, I guess, area on my radar, and would be looking to get experience in this space. All right, so that's my list of 5 jobs that are going to be in demand in 2022 and next couple of years too. But I actually sent out a tweet a couple days ago and said that I was working on a script for this video and what other jobs would they add. And there was a very good suggestion from someone, which I'll have on the screen here, but he suggested metaverse designer and NFT game developer. And I 100% agree with him. I don't know the details of what these roles could really look like, but I can again only imagine that these are going to be more and more in demand. To be honest, anything around the metaverse or NFTs is going to be booming over the next year, over the next 2 to 3 years. Again, I won't speak for the next 5 to 10 years because who knows what is going to happen, right? But right now, NFTs is a huge market. And honestly, as soon as I kind of turned my attention to NFTs, I just couldn't take it back. Like right now, I am deeply involved and deeply interested in this space. And when I saw the potential in this space, I was just so drawn to it. And I see myself like really actively being a participant and being a creator in the NFT space. So who knows what that is going to look like for me. Right now, it looks like joining an NFT collection, an NFT team as their marketing strategist, and by the time you're watching this video, that collection will have already launched, which is extremely exciting and extremely new for me. But you know what? Everything in this space, everything in this metaverse, NFT, decentralized technologies, or blockchain, these are still very new in general. So we are learning as we go. And if you're interested at all, it looks like this is a very right time to hop on the train and be one of the early adopters, brains that contribute to this space. Anyway, that's a wrap. Hopefully you found the video interesting, helpful, and useful. And I hope that I was able to trigger some curiosity and interest in these new fields, these spaces that I talked about. If you're already working in these spaces and if you came across this video, do tell us what you do or what your expectations, assumptions are for these spaces in the comments below. And if you're new to the spaces and the roles that we talked about, let me know what is interesting to you, and if you think you are going to do some more research and perhaps potentially get involved as well. I'm very curious to know. As always, let's start a conversation in the comments below. If you like this video, don't forget to like, and if you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more videos on marketing and I guess future of work and jobs and career. Those are things that I really like talking about. So that's that. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care, guys. Bye bye.